Last week, President Biden announced workers in the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, California, are moving to 24/7 operations to clear a supply chain logjam. Both ports account for nearly 40% of the nation's imports. According to the White House, working longer hours will help ease supply chain bottlenecks and speed up shipments of goods throughout the country. For more on all this, I want to bring in Mario Cordero. He is the executive director of the Port of Long Beach in California. Mario, so glad to have you on to discuss how this 24/7 plan is being carried out at your port. Tell us what impact do you believe it will have on these supply chain issues?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I think clearly we all agree we're in a national crisis, and better said, an international crisis, because this is an item that has impacted the international supply chain. And the root of it is COVID-19 in terms of what we experienced last year and continue to experience regarding some of the factors related to this situation. But suffice to say that here at the Port of Long Beach and at the nation's largest port complex, we're moving forward to explore all options in terms of how we move this cargo and expedite the cargo. And one of the ways that I've suggested, and of course President Biden has now directed, in terms of how do we move forward to 24/7 operations. Now, we have a pilot project right now with a terminal here at the Port of Long Beach, Total Terminals International, and I'd like to thank them for stepping up. But again, this is not going to be easy. The supply chain needs transformational change, but on the other hand, it's going to take the whole supply chain to buy into a 24/7 operation. And all I can represent at this point, the good news is there's commitments to do that by stakeholders. So it will be a process, but on the other hand, for us to do nothing is not an option.
Well, we appreciate that commitment. But as you say, Mario, it's not just about your port. There's a shortage of skilled port workers. There's a shortage of truck drivers. How is all of that impacting operations and this problem?
Well, as you've referenced, it's a perfect storm. There's a confluence of factors in terms of why we're in the situation we're in. And one of those is the shortage of labor. And, the port industry is not immune to the overall labor shortage that we're experiencing across the country. Now, I will say that the men and women who work on the docks here, the IOW, those men and women have been working day in, day out to move this cargo since the beginning of this pandemic. So with regard to labor that you see on the docks, we really don't have a shortage there. And that's the reason why I think that we're ready to move forward and explore a 24/7 framework. But you correctly assessed that the supply chain is problematic regarding some of the shortages we have, more specifically, truck drivers and in the warehouse component of this goods movement system.
And Mario, you heard in Carter's report that shipping costs for that businessman jumped from $6,500 to $30K. Will this 24/7 plan help bring these prices down, or is that just the new brutal reality of the situation?
Well, one of the things that your viewers have just witnessed is the Amazon process. A couple of years ago, I referenced the Amazon state of mind only because Amazon changed everything. It's a 24/7 operation. Mm-hmm. And one of the factors that has us in this situation is, on the good news, the trajectory of the economy. And by that, I mean the consumer appetite and demand. As consumers, we shop 24/7. We shop online, whether it's 10 p.m. from your home or 4 in the morning. So part of this factor is the elevated consumption or demand by consumers here, particularly in the United States. We have anywhere from a double-digit 14 to 15% increase in retail sales. And again, 20% increase in the use of e-commerce, specifically online. So these are other factors that, again, will drive us to make sure that we change to a extended hour operation, which I call a 24/7 framework, so that, again, short term is going to be difficult, but we have a full court press with our stakeholders to try to make something work on this. But midterm and long term is going to be the right decision.
It sounds like what you're saying is that you'll work to clear these bottlenecks, but as far as what the shipping costs are, that's something that's still yet to be determined. Is that right?
Well, I mean, I think the shipping costs they'll taper down as we move forward into the next year, because obviously these kind of costs are not sustainable. But on the other hand, again, I think we'll get back to some form of normalcy, maybe in the summer of next year. And by that, I mean that will have an impact on reducing the shipping costs that we've witnessed and experienced here, particularly in the last 8 months.
So the Biden administration is promising a 90-day sprint. You're fully charged up and ready to be part of that sprint to eliminate these bottlenecks. But that still puts us in January, Mario. Do you expect that these issues will be resolved by that point? And if we're really looking at January, what could this mean for the busy holiday season?
Well, one thing for sure, I think for those of us who shop last minute, including myself, this is not the year to do that. But on the other hand, again, what the good news is, I think the administration brought some key stakeholders together that are committed and are collaborating to address this issue. So this is a crisis. And so with that, all I can represent is that we are working 24/7 in terms of trying to find solutions and looking to the best ways that we could immediately deal with this scenario in the short term. But again, this is a global issue. So it doesn't start here with the terminals, but the good news is we have signaled that we're willing to do what we can by having extended hours to commence having a domino theory of an impact on the supply chain.
Mario Cordero, really appreciate you coming on and talking to me. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.